Next is some Fat Factor. Subject is regarding Meltzer the Con Man. Dear K100 crew, I heard your comments about Meltzer likes to call Eric a con man all the time, and I just want to say that Meltzer's 100% projecting. I was actually told a couple of years ago in person how damaging he's been to the industry. During my travels working in sports marketing, I met a former AOL Time Warner guy. We got talking about WCW. My boss mentioned to him that I used to watch wrestling as a kid. He revealed that he was of the belief that Dave Meltzer played a bigger part than people realize, and AOL Time Warner wanted to get rid of WCW. How is that possible? I hear you ask. Well, according to this guy, AOL Time Warner only had one person in their head office who was supposed to look over WCW. Instead of actually going to shows, watching the product, and working with Eric Bischoff, he simply subscribed to Dave's overpriced toilet paper out of convenience and took everything that was in there at face value. Dave used to absolutely bury WCW regardless of how much money it was drawing. It was beating WWE. The former AOL Time Warner guy also said he had suspicions that Dave knew exactly who was reading his newsletter in the office and was fully aware that he was writing about the product was going to lead to AOL Time Warner thinking, you know what? This product is, because why else would this guy be writing this, and this? We should get rid of it. The former AOL Time Warner guy also said that by the time Brad Siegel was in charge, they'd already made the decision to get rid of it. Just thought I'd point that out because more people call this Dave out on his better. P.S. Hope the three of you are doing well, and thank God you got rid of that alleged lucha expert who sounded like Zed from Police Academy, had a love child with Pee Wee Herman. Kind regards, Fat Factor. What an insult! Poor Larry's getting. Larry's the new Billy. Remember, like people just take jabs at Larry, jabs at Billy. The email. Now Larry gets it. You know.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Right. Who was the one you said before? Billy, and Billy was a new KG.
Right. But brother, it's like, I mean, I hope Billy can understand now. It's like, dude, it's just your spot. Like if you're right. The dirt sheet guy or the
if you act like a
right, and your fans right
bury you.
Right.
People never really buried Kevin, Kleinrock. You know what I'm saying? Because he was in with the people and trying to be.
So this is.
Can I say? Let me say a couple things here, Di. Just because some of this information might influence your take here. So first, I have no doubt that Dave knew who was reading his newsletter. I don't think he was writing anything maliciously to hurt the company. That's a bit of a stretch. But when he says that when Brad Siegel was in charge, they had already basically decided to sell the company, there's two things. One is that Brad Siegel was close friends with Stu Snyder, who was WWE's president and COO during the sale. So there's always been a little, they worked together previously at Turner. And another thing was Bischoff's media group.
I don't see the connection there. What are you talking about?
Well, if the guy he's friends with Brad, he goes over to WWE and all of a sudden WCW is like, yeah, we'll sell to WWE. People just always drew conclusions about that. Maybe it's more of an inside job thing.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I think at the end, WCW had to make the decision if they're going to sell the company or not the COO, but go ahead.
Fusion Media with Eric was going to bid $48.3 million, or did bid $48.3 million days prior to the sale. And
they sold it for $2 million.
Yep. So
that's always been shady. Very... Like, there was some money on the side. Somebody got paid. But here's the issue I have with this guy. And this is an alleged conversation that this guy had. This guy could be making this whole conversation up, right? Bro, the WCW brass above Eric Bischoff wanted to get rid of wrestling before Nitro started.
Yeah.
And Eric kind of like went to Ted Turner, and Ted Turner was like, "No, I'll give you whatever you want. Let's go head to head." And so they put that in the back burner, bro. You can't blame anybody like that. There's no blame of, if you're trying to put the blame on Eric, Russo, whoever, right? The bottom line is these guys got rid of one of their highest rated programs on their network and sold it. At the time, it was still one of their highest rated. I think it might have been their highest rated show, even when it was doing 2.1. Right.
Yeah. So much so that they have wrestling on their channel again.
At 5 times less viewership.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if they would have known in the year 2023. That a company could be making money like the WWE drawing these little numbers, they would have never gotten rid of it, and WCW would have been around for the past 20-something years.
Plus, I would almost surmise that when they said, yeah, we're going to go head to head against WWE, maybe people in WCW that they want to show on the air were like, yeah, they're going to get demolished by Vince. Never did they expect that thing to blow up the way it did, I think.
Right.
Two things that actually spin off from that. One is that Time Warner is supposed to be the lead company to get the rights to Raw, which could lead to all sorts of interesting possibilities. Right? Do they have to dump AEW if they bring Raw on? I'd say that'd be a condition. But
why?
The other, because Raw would go on TNT.
It's just cheaper programming for AEW. Yeah. So
and the other thing is that there's a lawsuit today. This kind of reminds me of the little WCW chicanery. When WWE merged with UFC and became TKO, they took a deal that was actually less than they had two other offers. And the reason, this is the lawsuit, the reason is because TKO and Endeavor would make sure Vince was still on the board and still had a position of power. The other deals may not have done that. So the idea is, well, Vince sold to this company for his favorable terms and not for the stockholders, because he could have sold for $110 a share and he sold for 96. So that's
why is that relevant?
Because it reminds me, if that was a shady deal, of how WWE buying WCW might have been a shady deal.
Yeah, shady.
Right. Do you have on your soundboard the word boring?
Boring.